Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how I grew over 100 tomato plants outdoors without the use of grow lights. I live in southern Ohio and we can't plant tomatoes out in the ground until the beginning of May. I started these seeds at the end of March in a cell tray like this one. Basically, I just overseeded the whole tray. I put 4 or 5 little tomato seeds in each little cell. And then eventually I potted them up into individual containers. The end of March is still pretty darn cold where I live, so after I sowed the seeds, I did take the tray inside to let the seeds germinate. Once about half of the tomato plants had germinated, I took the seed tray back outside, and that's pretty much where these plants have stayed, except when my nighttime temperatures have gone down below 45. When my nighttime temperatures have gone down below 45, I do bring these trays inside my house. If I were only growing 1 or 2 trays of tomatoes, I would have probably brought them inside had my temperatures dropped down below 50 degrees at night. I really just didn't feel like bringing 9 or 10 trays inside my house at night, but I would say ideally you would probably want to bring them in if temperatures got down below 50. Tomatoes really don't like temperatures lower than that. There was one night that I forgot to bring them in when my temperatures were down to 38, 39 degrees Fahrenheit at night, and we had a really cold rain, and this is what happened. Luckily for me, most of the plants' leaves don't look like this, but there was quite a few where there was a lot of damage like this. Now, I would have no problem putting a plant like this in the ground. I would totally plant that, but I'm selling these plants, so I'm probably not going to be selling the ones that look like this. And as you guys can see, the new growth looks really nice, and it's going to outgrow this. With that being said, you really should try not to make that same mistake that I made. Don't risk it, because you could have a night where you get a frost, especially when your temperatures are in the 30s. A hard frost could kill off all of this foliage, part of the stem, the whole stem, and all of that hard work would have been for nothing. So don't make that mistake. On days when temperatures have been below 50, I cover these plants with this piece of plastic. And if it's a windy day, you can attach the plastic to your trays with these little clips. Clothespins would work pretty good too, probably. I've only had to put the plastic on the plants a couple of different times. One day it was a little over 50 and it was partly sunny. I put the plastic on. They really got too hot under there, so I pulled it off within a couple of hours. To give you an idea of what my April temperatures are like here in southern Ohio, I'll put a link to the archived weather that we've had this past month. Most days have been in the 60s or 70s. We've been up to, I think, around 80, but we also do get days where the daytime temperatures are in the 50s and even the 40s. So just to quickly recap, nighttime temperatures 45 or under, definitely bring your plants in. 50 degrees or under would be even better. You can cover your plants with plastic during the day if you get a random cold day here or there, if it's less than 50 degrees or so. But just keep an eye on your plants when you do that. You don't want your plants to get too hot. You don't have to use a piece of plastic like I did. If you're just growing several plants, you can use milk jugs. You could use some kind of a Rubbermaid container. But with whatever you decide to use, there does need to be airflow. If there's not enough airflow, your plants could get too hot, or it could get so humid under there that you could get all kinds of mold growth and stuff like that. The next thing I want to talk about is drainage. I put most of these plants into regular bagged potting soil that I bought at the store. And for about half of the plants, I made potting soil by mixing peat moss with some cheap bagged compost. The store-bought potting soil has definitely fared much better for drainage. Some of the potting soil that I made has really just been a little bit too wet. If I do this again, I will definitely just use regular old bagged potting soil from the store. As you guys can see, it's really wet here today. We've gotten a lot of rain. So I have these in these little aluminum foil pans, but I've also put holes in these pans so that water can drain out, because I don't want them just sitting in water. To bring them in at night in these pans that have the holes in them, I just put another aluminum foil pan underneath of this one that doesn't have holes in it so it doesn't make a mess in my house. Where I live this time of year is thunderstorm season and tornado warning season. If I'm going somewhere for the day, or if you had to work for the day, and you know there's a chance of severe storms, and you don't want your tomatoes to get too beat up or get too much water during that time, you can always put them in a sheltered location. A covered porch works really well for this. If you don't have a covered porch, you can just rig something up. I mean, you could put them under a table, under some chairs, all kinds of things like that. Obviously, a covered porch or a table is not going to protect your plants from a tornado, but the reason I brought that up is because a lot of times when there's tornado warnings, there's also a chance of hail and strong winds. So it's best to give them a little shelter if you can. You can do this with a lot of other vegetables too, especially very fast-growing vegetables and fast-growing annual flowers. I usually start at least some stuff like this every year because I only have a 4-foot long shop light as a grow light, and I never have enough room to get everything started indoors. And I'm actually pretty impressed with how they've turned out. I'm going to make a video very soon on the tomatoes that I grew under my grow lights, the watermelons that I've been growing. They're all going to have to be transplanted in the ground pretty soon, and I do want to give you guys an update before I do that. Really quickly, I do want to mention, when I was talking about covering your plants with plastic, it does need to be some kind of a clear or translucent plastic that will allow sunlight to pass through. Also, if you get a freakishly cold day, like really cold, you could always bring your plants in. It's not going to hurt them to be inside a day or two. It's a whole lot better than them being stuck outside in temperatures that are just way too cold. Growing tomatoes this way might not be an option for everyone. We all have different climates, but it could work for a lot of people. So give it a try if you'd like. I hope this video gave you some ideas. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.